So this is Monday, Victoria Day. The green truck is still here. I'm still here. This is still Flying J in Fort Erie, Ontario. And this is Captain Sergei. And yes, as you've seen from the previous pictures, my yellow monster death machine BSY 4500 has been cleaned, and no, the truck wash stayed closed, despite what the truck stop employee told me yesterday, that it's not a big holiday. But of course, you know, we all humans, so people always look for an excuse to stay home, and they didn't open, you know. But yesterday, I don't remember if I mentioned this, but I saw a power washer right next to the entrance to the truck stop, and I asked him about this, and I said, can you guys, you know, wash my load, you know, like I see. And then later I saw the guy, they were using that to clean the pavement near the pumps, the fuel pumps. And the lady says, well, I cannot tell you if it's okay or not. You'll have to ask the manager, right? And then this morning I show up there at 5 to 9, and I said, can I speak to your manager? She says, he's not here, just check back at 9 o'clock. And I go back at 9, and there's some guy standing in front of the counter, and I say, hey, can I speak to the manager? And he says, I'm one of them, can I help you? And I know he doesn't look like a manager. I think that's like a bigger, older guy. And this one was like tall and skinny and better looking, you know. And I tell him my predicament, that I have this machine and it's dirty, you know. And I said, I was wondering, I see you guys have a power washer here. It's probably a crazy suggestion, but if I pay you cash, or, you know, give you guys some kind of you know, financial consideration, can we do something? And this guy says, absolutely. Okay, so he says, pull right next to the pump and we'll take care of you. All right. And so it took him maybe half an hour, you know, but it looks good now. And also in other news, and so yeah, so now basically I had my New York permit, and I was just waiting for the tollway permit for I-90. And I checked with my permit company this morning, and they said, yeah, we have your I-90 permit, but there was a mistake on your state permit. Basically, like I-90 connects with I-81 north, right? Like I take I-90 east, which is a toll road, and I go till I reach I-81 north, and that's where my state permit starts, right? And the state permit is issued, but when they issued the toll permit, they don't want me to go all the way to 81. They want me to take the previous exit, which is like, I don't know, 5 miles before 81. So I think there's they're saying there's a weight restriction on that small portion right before 81, you know. And so now they had to so now I have so I used to have the state permit but didn't have the toll permit, right? So now I have the toll permit, and they say now I cannot use the state permit, right? Because now I have to go on some 2-lane roads in there between the exit from the thruway and 81. And that one was issued Friday, right, late afternoon. Now it's Monday. What's the time now? Hold on 1 second. Where's my clock? Oh, 1 o'clock, 2 minutes past 1. And so now the situation is opposite. I have my tollway permit, I don't have my state permit. But I did my customs paperwork. I sent everything to the broker. I put my sticker on. I scanned it, sent it to the broker, and then I did my part. through the website, and I already have the confirmation that everything is set up. They're waiting for me at the border, right? But that one is good for up to, like, I forgot, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That's why I did it in advance. And I still cannot find the escort. I tried that phone number in Buffalo I used before. Nobody's answering. There's like voicemail. I don't want to leave a voice message. But plus now I don't know when I'm gonna cross, you know. And I don't want to do the same mistake I did before, where I would you know, hire like 3-4 escorts because I wanted to get to my destination faster. Like, basically, one thing you got to understand about escorts is that if you use them for the same distance, but if you use them for 2 days, they will charge you more money, right? Because they have to stay somewhere, they have to go to a hotel, you know. So it's always best to use them for 1 day. And so since now it's already 1 o'clock and the distance from here to the consignee is about, I don't know, 300 miles, you know. And by the time we cross the border, I don't think we might make it, you know, before, because sometimes border crossing can take 2 hours, right? And plus I have to wait on this side to cross. They might say that no, actually it's 3 lanes now, but anyway, so the border crossing can take 2 hours sometimes, you know, 3 hours. So I don't think I'll make it before dark to the consignee, you know. And what I'm saying is that now, even if I get my permit, the smart thing to do is just wait it out, as they say, and book the escort for tomorrow morning, you know. And of course, no, I'm not getting paid for this, but that's what you gotta do sometimes, because I'm still gonna save money. I don't have a reload, so I don't have to rush. And another development that I'm happy to report is that I've been doing research. I was really concerned about these stupid cylinders, you know, and I sent a bunch of emails to Fontaine this morning, because this is not a holiday in US, right? It's only a holiday here in Canada, and so I know they all open. So I sent the message to parts, to sales, technical support. What's funny about Fontaine, they give you a email address for technical support, but if you try to send it, it comes back saying that you're not authorized basically to use it because you're not on the list of dealers. So, you know, they should say something that if you're not a dealer, do not use this, right? But they list that address. You can click on it, you know, you can start typing your email, you can, you know, type like 10 pages of frustration and send it, and only to see 2 minutes later that you're not, like, your email, your message was blocked because you're not on the authorized list. And so I played a trick. I sent it to sales@fontainetrailers.com, and I said, please pass it to engineering or technical support. And then I called, I left a message. I said, if I don't hear from you within the next 48 hours, I'm gonna call again. And somebody somewhere got scared. I said, I'm not a dealer, I'm an unhappy end customer with your $68,000 US product, you know. And somehow they felt they better respond, and so then my phone rings, and some guy says, hey, Sergei, I got your email from, you know, sales and parts, and he's with engineering. And so we started talking about this, and he says, so he's kind of like a very, very nice older guy, judging by the voice, and he kind of restored my my faith, you know, in the product. And I asked him about this. I said, could this have something to do with that? Like the fact that I'm using the flip box, you know, like, could I have overstretched the cylinders because of this? And he says no. And he says they've been making these trailers like for, I don't know, he says 20-30 years, like basically a long time. And he says they never had issues like structural issues. And I told him that I have a new truck that have bigger tires now, you know, and I said maybe that coupled with that put some stress. And he says Because I think I sent him a picture, and because you see I'm using this, right? My setup is this. So the gooseneck with extension and 4 axles with a flip, not this. Like this, you see, this one is stronger because this setup, it says 55 tons and 12 feet. So when you switch to this with a Stinger, the little sign in here says 55 tons in 16 feet. And 55 tons, that's the payload. Okay, it's not the gross. So this trailer in this configuration can handle 110,000 pounds in 12 feet of the deck. 110. I had 90,000, right? So I was 20,000 below the maximum of this trailer. So nothing was overloaded, right? And basically what he says is that I probably got defective cylinders, right? But now it's past warranty, so there's nothing they can do. But also what he suggested, he says, to avoid, basically, yeah, I said, yeah, I understand. Okay, I can get the cylinders, but I said my concern is that I'll pay this money, I get the cylinders, but what if this happens again? So I said I thought maybe there's some kind of a design flaw, and he says no. The trailer design is nothing wrong with the trailer. It's either cylinders are bad or they got, maybe the land was, you know, we're talking about this, maybe the ground was a bit tilted. Somehow they got to its maximum position, right? And so on top of that, so he says, don't worry about the trailer. The trailer is basically, this is all good. So I'm gonna get the trailers, I mean the cylinders. But also he was saying something about dual position cam pawl, PAWL, right? And he says it's like optional part, and I'm not sure what he was talking about. Like, is it this part? Like, what do you change, you know? If it's this, it's probably costs a lot of money. But he was saying that you take out the old one with that gives you 5 positions. Yeah, it's probably this thing. I don't know, but how do you undo it? He says you can just take it out. How do you take it out? Yeah, this sits on the back, right? No, this would be like a massive part if he was talking about this. But basically, he was saying you get the dual position cam pole assembly, and what you get instead of 5 positions, you get about 10. You get 10 positions. And I said, how will that help me? And he says, well, that means that you'll have a better control of your ride height, and also you will not have to outstretch your cylinders as much, you know, when you need to lift it, you know. And so that's what I'm trying. I sent an email to part, and I asked this guy if he knows the part number. He had no idea. He says you have to talk to parts, and that's the latest development, is that I sent an email to parts department. I said, here's my VIN number, please let me know how much would that dual cam pole assembly cost. But I think, yeah, the only thing I see here that they can change is this whole thing, this whole metal part, but that's freaking probably like, I don't know, 5,000 bucks. I'm not gonna do that. I don't think it's, or maybe it's actually, maybe it's this, you know. Maybe what it is just this part over here. You change this part. Oh yeah, okay, no, I think I get it. And so basically, instead of this one arm, they give you a second arm, you know. Yeah, he was saying something that when you install it, this piece will be sticking out a little bit, and he says sometimes you might have a problem with some loads that are real close to the gooseneck. Okay, now I get it. Yeah, so it's this piece. It's this piece. You just undo it on over here. I have no idea how, but somehow you undo it over here, and you just replace this piece. Okay, then it's not expensive. It can really help, you know. So I'm thinking I'm liking that. About the rods, see, they start getting, that grease was still inside, so I cleaned them. I sprayed some chain lube, and some guy was asking about the WD-40. No, you cannot use that. I used to be a big fan of that, and then I found out that I pretty much ruined all my binders, because turns out that WD-40 attracts dirt, and what it does when you spray it, like when I was spraying it on the binders over here, you know, on this part and over here, they became packed with dirt. Okay, and somebody left a tip. Somebody left a tip that I should try something like this. And so basically, something like this is much better. Blaster, right? Or my favorite, I think this is the same one. No, it's a different something like this, but my favorite one now is this. It's called you can see that I'm in Canada because half of the stuff is in French, but chain loop. So this is designed for open connections, right? So this repels, you see, repels water and dirt, and that's very important. So this is the best in my experience. I buy these at Canadian Tire in Canada for like $7 Canadian, and it works very well. Yeah, this is the next day, Tuesday, May 22nd, 2018. I'm eastbound on I-90 in New York. The weather's beautiful because it keeps my engine cool, and I'm running with a 90,000 pound trencher, which was built in 1992 in Netherlands. So my pusher axle is down, my flip axle on the trailer is down. So we're running with all the lights on, flashing lights, and 8 axles. And behind me is a Escort. His name is Mark. He drives a Ford Escape small SUV, and he also has all his lights on. And on a divided freeway he has to be behind me, and when we go on a local, like a 2-lane road, he has to be in the front. And these guys are pretty expensive, you know, like in this particular case I'm paying $1.55 US a mile. And he picked me up at Peace Bridge in Buffalo once I crossed the border this morning at 7 o'clock. And now we're just heading east towards I-81 and then 81 north with a couple of small detours. And the place where I deliver is just east of Watertown, New York. And what else? So yeah, my gross weight is 143,000 pounds, and the state permit for New York was $40, but because I wanted to expedite this permit process, I told them I'll go on a tollway, and for this I need a separate permit. And when I look at the price, you know, it was a good thing I was sitting down inside the truck, because to go 120 miles on the tollway with the oversized load, the government or whoever owns this road charged me $300 US. And of course, then there's fees I paid to the permit company that applied for these permits on my behalf. I believe it's $22 US per permit. And so that comes out of my pocket because I'm an independent super trucker, and I'm paying these guys also myself, so that should be, you know, $1.55 times 280 miles. You guys do the math. It's not cheap. Like, I don't like using escorts, but what I gotta do for this load. This is one of those cases where I do use my overpriced flip axle, and as you noticed, originally I've been using it quite a lot, and it looks like that's the ticket with 90,000 plus pound loads. So one thing I wanted to mention is that about the trailer is that, yeah, I'm not gonna probably replace the cylinders at this point because they're not leaking. I'm gonna use them till they start leaking, if they do. But what I'm willing to do is, I think it'll help me, is change that cam, the big part with the handle that gives me the right height. So currently I got one handle, and well, there will be one handle, but I mean there's only one piece that you can put into those little notches. So I got 5 right heights on the neck, right? And the engineer I talked to yesterday, he says it might be beneficial for me to kind of like save the cylinders a little bit, avoid you know, overtaxing them and overextending, is if I get this dual cam pawl, P-A-W-L, dual cam pawl arm assembly. And what that thing does is that it has 2 pieces of metal that you can stick into the notches, and so that kind of like gives you like on a bike, you know, 2 gears instead of 1. So now instead of 5 notches, 5 right heights, I can use, because I'm using 2 of those, you know, I don't know what you call them, but like support, right, on that assembly. So now I will have 10 height positions.
One's coming faster.
Yeah, 10-4, I see him. He's harmless.
Okay.
Yeah, and the way this operates, I got 40 channels on the CB, right? And typical channel for truckers is 19, and that one is too busy. And usually what you do with an escort, you try to find your little channel that doesn't have as much talk and interference, right? And so we tried 22. Like the day today is 22, so I told the escort, so it's easy for him to remember. I said, let's try 22. And there was a lot of noise and chatter and interference over there, so I said, let's try 10, my birthday. And we tried 10, and it works fine. I just adjusted this thing over here, but I can hear him loud and clear because he's right behind me, and that's how we communicate. And of course the best part is that this is free. And no, we don't use VHF like they do in Alaska and Siberia. There's no need for that. You know, I don't need a radio to reach, you know, 50 miles, right? I just need a radio to communicate, usually with the escort who's right next to me, or sometimes with other truckers when there's an accident and I'm trying to find out what the heck happened, you know. Is this aliens or what's going on, you know, like when the traffic is stopped. So, and we're cruising at 92 kilometers an hour, 57 miles per hour to save on fuel a little bit. And to give you an idea, guys and gals, well, it looks like I'm doing 62 liters per 100 kilometers. That's not very good. But when you do heavy haul, you don't look at that. So I don't want to see that screen. So I just switch it to the speed or my RPM, which when I'm driving in hilly terrain, I like to see the digital RPM. reading, because I usually upshift at 1200 RPM. Now this is my Jake brake on the right here. I can't go too fast because I'm running under a permit and my speed is limited. So we're using Jake brake position 3 right now to bring the speed back to my cruising speed, and we're good. And the cruise is restored, so now I don't have to do anything. I don't have to hold my foot on the throttle. And so yeah, one more thing is that, so I'm legal height, which is 13.6, and that's why they allowed me to go on this tollway, because you cannot be here if you're over 13 feet 6 inches. And I'm 10 feet 8 inches wide, which is not too bad. But the main reason I need the escort is because I'm over 80 feet long. So we have like 90 minutes to go on this freeway, and then we jump on a free road and start making our way north towards Watertown. Yeah, my pilot now is in front of me because we're on a 2-lane road, and we just...
3, I should say. I mean, turning left here and then going up the 3, making a right.
And basically, they're sending us around Watertown, whereas actually... light was green, so it was easy. It takes forever to accelerate with this thing, you know, because I gotta start in low gear, like low 1.
I've seen it 30 below zero out here.
30F.
So cold it broke the timing belt on one of the escort vehicles. She went to start it. It was so cold and brittle it snapped it. This is always pretty here. I like these spillways like this here.
Looks a bit scary.
Yeah. You can see the railroad tracks right up to the end of it there, but there used to be a lot of paper mills up here. They ran all the paper mills with water power. You know, so they got their generation power, electric and power to turn the wheels.
Looks like we got about 55 miles to go.
How many? 55?
Yeah, 55.
4, thank you.
So relax and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, we're at 220, so that'll be about 275 or so when we get there.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I thought it would be like 280 from Peace Bridge.
I like 280 better. That car.
Yeah, let's go crazy. Let's round it up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And this is it. This is the old steel plant. I'm unhooked. Have to go through some very steep hill to get here, but this machine is gonna work near the river, and the river is in front of those trees. And so the guy said, I would really appreciate it if you could bring it down there, and that's the hill I came through. Okay, so basically now just keep it level, I guess. Yeah, I'm not touching that. I only know this. That thing will hit my trailer. No, it's all good.
on the ground.